Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We are back from break when we left our heroes. Well, really, it was just our hero. Ashes had been sent by death to the realm of Argentil, the Gates of the Moon, Selune's realm, where he met the Goddess of the Moon, the Night White Lady, Our Lady in Silver, and dedicated himself to her after she removed a divine block that had been placed upon him by someone or something in his past. She told him of a great threat, an ancient evil that slumbers within Undermountain, and the very real possibility that a cult to her sister, the dark goddess Shar, that might be trying to obtain the power of that dark shadow. So Ashes has dedicated himself to the goddess of the moon and now seeks to thwart not only this potential cult of Shar, but any force seeking to obtain and abuse the power beneath the mountain. After that, he was sent back to the mortal realm, and that is where we find ourselves. So, assuming that nothing else really needs to happen in those intervening moments, right? We don't need to do anything with Ashes or Matashtai. That was mostly just like joke flavor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I check his throat, make sure it's actually healed.
Is owie, but it's there.
He punches you in the throat a couple of times.
He punches you in the throat.
I neck chop him real quick and just make sure it's good.
I'm just gonna talk in whispers so it doesn't hurt my throat.
He punches you in the chest and then healing hands your throat.
Quick, to the Hall of Innovation.
So
you can talk like this.
So, that event, that situation, the camera fades on that, and we find ourselves fading in on the morning of the 17th as the Waterdeep trio sit around the Lifted Spirits Tavern, breaking their fast and preparing to head back into the dungeon.
We had another 3 days of downtime.
That was not
Yeah, we need
my understanding.
we need to go back the 23rd because I still have 10 greater pots.
And
yeah.
the 14 business days, Jacob? Jacob.
What?
10 to 14 business
Why are
days.
you saying that like it's his fault?
I don't know. He's the one in control here, and I'm real upset.
Yeah, real in control here.
What the
10
fuck?
to 14 business days. Absolutely. You go over there and you ship my order.
Oh, that's
Please.
yeah,
No.
because that's how it works. They'll totally let him do that.
I would actively not do that. I would take your boxes and leave them here.
Ouch.
So, the Waterdeep trio gathered the morning of the 17th. Actually, all of the Waterdeep trio, roll a wisdom saving throw for me.
Oh shit.
I am superb.
Damn, I can't believe you seek to divide us even further
I'm
by
gonna
giving them a special
advantage
group
on
name.
But look, y'all haven't given yourselves a special group name, so now I'm just gonna start making them up.
Yeah, but that
No
one
one can agree
specifically
on anything.
Not my problem.
That's true.
Okay, our team name is now The Divided.
Okay. I need one from Ashes. Ashes wisdom saving throw.
Sorry, I was wisdom save.
Yep. All right, you're all good. Sweet.
Wow.
You have gathered around the bar at the Lifted Spirits. You're breaking your fast. Anything immediately from you three, or can I launch into stuff? Going once. I put up 2 fingers. Going twice. I now have 2 fingers. Going thrice. Okay, sold to the DM.
It was all a distraction so that we couldn't object.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so a couple of things right off the bat. You have received some correspondence. One piece of correspondence that you have received is that Shalara, Matastai's
Spirit.
No.
Halaster spirit.
No. That's Valena.
Oh.
Shalara is Matastai's contact
Baby
for
mama?
goods for collector's items. Collector's items. That's what I was thinking.
Mm.
Shalara sends you correspondence about a buyer for the chess set.
Hey. Nice.
Checking my notes.
Oh, that reminds me another conversation we have to have.
Roll that beautiful bean footage. I need Matashtai, since she's your collector agent.
Yeah.
I need I need you to roll a d20.
Boom. 19.
Ooh, so
Looks
close
like
to
a 9 to me, but
so close to a crit. Okay, so she sends correspondence that she has found a buyer for the chess set that is willing to buy it for 3,000 gold.
A lot of fucking money.
we
So
accept the offer.
you're just gonna send correspondence back, and she will see it done. So let me add that to my notes. Blah, blah, blah.
And that lump sum can be left in
Yeah, it can be.
Sine's.
It can either be delivered, and you guys can correspond or send that correspondence to her. It can be delivered to whoever you so choose, or she can just hold it until you are ready to collect it.
There's a lizard man that lives in a back alley. Please give it to him.
No.
Give it to the lizard.
Give it to my lizard man.
She has not.
give it
She
to
will
the
also.
lizard.
She also has correspondent or a blurb in there saying she hasn't found a buyer for the ship yet, but she's working on it.
Yep.
That will likely take some more time.
Cool.
Okay. So there's that. There is also. Sine has correspondence for or has information for you, Ezrah.
Yep.
He has spoken with a couple of members of the Order of Magus and Protectors, and he has information about your teleportation circle. So, and he gives you the whole spill, right? And it basically boils down to there's a lot of paperwork. You have to get approval from this, that, and the other, right? But ultimately, what it stands at is you have to pay to have it done, right? It will be done by an approved member of the Order of Magus and Protectors, and it costs. And Cena kind of like gives you that like pause. It'll cost. It's 50K. It's 50K.
Lord of mercy.
Okay.
I believe that's the biggest.
Cena just looks at you like, okay. All right. Yes, I forget. I work for very talented people that do some really crazy shit. Right. Okay. 50K. Right.
I mean, it's
Drop in
a
the bucket.
spell that you cast once a day for a year.
I get the parameters. That's a lot of money.
Agreed.
Yes,
You could,
it's a lot of work.
could almost buy a title for that.
Why
Title
would
for
you
what?
do that?
Car?
Magic circle is way more useful.
Idle.
Well, okay, I could see
I
some.
mean,
This is an interesting
being a
debate. I'll have to
minor
think about this
noble
one.
would be really useful in the right
it's-
situations.
But the potato, you know, they both have their value. I think we can agree on that.
I don't think I've ever heard potato.
Yeah, but have you
haven't
ever
been to the
heard?
South, have you?
So
region of Oz?
that's not it. That's not it. So it's 50K to have the circle created up front. There are a couple of other requirements. The circle must be registered and it must be available for inspection. It must be approved. I already talked about that, but it must be approved by the Order of Mages and Protectors and by the Masked Lords. It must maintain a specific threshold of security at all times, but they were a little vague on what exactly that meant. And there is an annual fee of 1,000 gold that must be paid to the Order just to continue having it active. And as a aside, they mentioned that if you are to have the circle, you must submit to the Order or the Masked Lord's usage of said circle if they deem it a requirement, if they deem it necessary.
Oh, you're gonna pull the old exigent circumstances on me?
Yeah, basically they're like, look,
This is
Waterdeep
horseshit.
Patriot
you're
Act.
you're putting a
no-knock
teleportation
bullshit.
into our city. We're gonna have a lot of input to this. Basically, is
No,
is
no.
what
And
it goes
also
on.
tax the shit out of you for having it.
Yeah, basically.
Like there is no
You
winning.
pay for it, we use it.
Yep.
It's absolutely one of those scenarios of like, but you got to keep in mind if it's the right people, right? They're trying to keep it as something that only the right people are utilizing, and those right people are probably utilizing it for really good purposes and potentially a lot of profit.
Oh, I don't care if they profit. Do I get a cut?
No. You're supposed to use it for your own.
Your cut
Means.
is the use of it.
Yeah.
Do I get to use
mean,
the other? Do we get access to the other ones in the network?
Well, not automatically, but I mean, if you were a valued member of the Order of Mages and Protectors, or a Masked Lord, or something like that, then
They get access to ours, but we don't get access to theirs. This is
Uh,
bullshit.
it's called ranking. Again, if you were a
Call it
high-ranking
Patriot Act is
member
what it
of
is.
one of
Goddamn
those
fucking
things, then
bullshit
perhaps
ass
you wouldn't
motherfucker.
get to.
I ain't never heard of such bullshit in my life.
My God, never heard of ranking. You're literally like ranked in 3 different factions, high-ranked in 3 different factions.
I ain't never heard of such bullshit in my entire life.
Did you get all that, Jake, or do you need me to copy pasta?
I assumed I was gonna get a copy pasta.
Yeah, I'll copy. I'll Discord it to you later, so you have it for your notes.
That's good.
But
This is long term, so
yeah. So CNA,
So
CNA
can we
delivers
do
that
monthly
information.
payments?
No, it's an
it's
upfront. Partially because the 50K that you're paying, a good portion of that is to pay for the material components that go into the casting of the spell every day, because every day those get consumed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's to pay for the time of the person who has to come and do that
Labor.
every single day.
Yep.
But you have to do it up front because it's that dedication of like, we ain't doing this halfway through and then you being like, look, I don't want it anymore. I'm done. Right? Because they have to block out an entire year and an entire year of resources for you. So it's not like this, oh, we'll halvesies it and then, oh, we don't have to finish. No, fuck that. We get all up front, and if you decide halfway through you don't want to do it, fine, fuck off. I don't care. But we're not taking the fall on that. That's how they operate on it, basically, is their outlook. Because how the fuck, with what y'all do, y'all might not be around in a year.
That's fair.
yeah, about
Freak.
20K of that is just materials.
Yeah, it is. It's yeah. It's an
so that's the
expensive
parts and
proposition
labor.
just to do it. Yeah.
And then the taxation, just like anything else. It makes sense. That did not catch me off guard at all.
So
I didn't expect it to catch you off guard. Cine expected you to be like 50K, right? Like Cine's like, that's a lot of
That's a
fucking
lot of
money.
It
That's a lot
is.
of cheddar.
I agree. Fuck that shit.
So, other news that Cine delivers is that he has touched base with Okoria Stonemarrow, and she is prepared to install the silent alarm and have it up and running within a day of being paid. So she's ready to do that whenever you say, "Here's the money."
I hand Cine the money.
Okay, then he will do it. And in that discussion, she needs a code word, right? And she needs authorized users to use that code word. Basically, it's a code word to turn it off and on. And it's
Vincent Trench, only Vincent Trench.
It's all of the people who are allowed to turn it off and on. Okay? And then she also needs who is getting pinged by it. And she needs some sort of something, like a little article of clothing,
Doesn't even know.
or something to like be able to establish a connection to that person. And she will leave whatever items you give her. She will leave them with Cine at, like, she's not a hag. She's not gonna like keep the items or something like that, right? She will use them and then leave them with Cine afterwards. Okay.
Mandius gets pings. Only Vincent Trench can turn it off.
You need someone to turn it off every day so the bar can get opened.
No, yeah, Cena's gonna have to go wake up Vincent Trench.
What the fuck? Get out of here. No.
And we're not giving him any notice.
No, absolutely not. Jake, I'm assuming that Ezra gives Cine the information that he needs to progress with this, and you can hash that out with me later on if you want, or just send me DM on Discord, or talk it amongst the group or who we think needs to be part
does
of that.
everyone want to get pinged, or is it?
No, I do not. Specifically do not.
I mean, does it cost more to have more people pinged?
No, it does not.
Yeah.
As long as it's within reason, right? If it's
list.
if I'm remembering correctly, she said, like, as long as it's like 10-ish or something like that, you're fine. But if you start getting like 20, 30 people, then yeah, there's going to be an extra charge to try to add that many.
I would not mind being notified pingedly.
So just write me up.
Yeah, you can ping me. That's fine.
Write me up what you want, what the code word is, who you want to be able to use the code word, and who you want to be pinged. Those two lists do not have to match, by the way. Who can use the code word does not need to be who is pinged.
I have a note from a very long time ago saying, Yuzu, team safe word.
Yeah, well, it can't be a safe word and a fucking alarm code. That's like irresponsible.
Why?
Because it's irresponsible.
I don't understand how that's
yell out the
irresponsible.
alarm code just randomly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, boss.
Alright. Then the new word will, instead of being Uzu, will be Zuyu.
Zuyu.
I think the alarm code should be Earl Grey.
NordVPN.
Skillshare.
Shadow Legends.
Play.
Oof. Big oof. Alright, cool. That is all of the... Oh, let me double check before I lie.
I have officially scratched off 500 platinum.
Okay. That is all of the correspondence that is awaiting you three on this day. Is there anything else that you guys want to do, or is it time to head back to the dungeon?
Back to the
Still
library.
have
Got it.
500 platinum.
He's been holding on. He's been
have
No one's
saving.
bought anything from the magic shop, right?
Oh,
I
right.
think I determined that the magic shop
I got the magic shop.
Someone
didn't
was
see
talking about the
anything-
keys or the rings.
The key. I
whatever.
think the key ring was the only like considerable item that we
And
we're
and
looking
just as a heads up, I am planning on changing my spell list out once we level, which hopefully won't be too long. And I am planning on picking up knock.
Oh,
So-
well then those keys might not be necessary.
And that's why I bring it up. That
Fair
Because
enough.
knock is useful.
yes.
And sounds like we don't really need anything.
Yes, Jeremy is allowing me to shake things up since we've tried the additional spell list.
Mhm.
So,
Because being beholden to a choice you made a year and a half ago
if
is
not
kind of
longer.
horseshit. Honestly,
You can only change a spell every time you level.
get out of here. All right. Anyways, that it for my top group.
Why they don't just put like a monetary cost to it or something? Like, why does it have to be?
I'm fine with it being when you level, but why is it so restrictive in that? Like a
Yeah.
wizard can do it every morning, and that's fine. That makes sense. But it's just weird.
It's a very kind of archaic thing. Yeah, absolutely. So, my Waterdeep group finishes their morning business, heads out into the cold. Ashes. You have a minor like flash as you step out of the lifted spirits of the expanse in front of you, just being this dark pit with tendrils snaking up out of it, what you had seen on the map in Argentil. And it's just a brief flash, right?
Yes, PTSD.
And
yeah, we haven't really spoken since then. It'd be like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, guys, it's possible that the entire city may be destroyed by the shadow underneath the mountain.
Sounds standard.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not there.
it, huh?
Weren't we
Yeah.
already told that?
So, my let's just call it dedication ceremony to Salune last night was eventful, but with it came information about what will happen to the city. Maybe, potentially, it's not a guaranteed outcome, but might happen. Like, Lifted Spirits is going to be a crater for one.
It's already been a crater once. Well, kind of.
Well.
The fireball went off. You weren't here at that point, though, so.
But we, like, it's beyond question now. Like, the shadow underneath the mountain is not just a threat to us; it's a threat to everything.
I agree to disagree.
You're not here.
you're not there. You can't
but
agree
I'm
to
still,
disagree.
I'm agreeing to disagree.
Okay.
How do we
From
mute
the
this mic?
shadows! No one knows if I'm here or not! Ooh.
So,
Ezra, as they're walking away, turns around and watches his illuminated illusion one more time.
Yeah, that
Neon
gets
sign.
destroyed too.
You liar.
I mean, it's just an illusion. It takes a little bit of magic to move it.
We're gonna have vandals that just know dispel magic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very
Yeah,
specifically.
just-
All right. The party,
Fucking vandals.
sans Bones, begins to head to the Yawning Portal Tavern. Someone, I gotta tax you guys somehow. Someone deduct a shard for me. Y'all aren't walking in the snow there. Get out of here.
I got it.
I won't allow it.
It's done.
Meanwhile,
Shard spin.
Bones, you are
Oh, hey, that's me.
um
Bulling around? What are we doing?
you are awoken by a set of sharp whistles that go off in alternating like pulses, sharp, shrill, loud whistles, and then there is a great clamor and a bunch of yelling and jumping about as goblins who were sleeping or just casually standing about or working or what have you jump up in kind of like this frenzy of, oh my god, what's going on? Oh shit, and through one of the side doors comes abounding is Ketchup, who kind of like
Catsup is his name.
Catsup, sorry, who does kind of like a drift move on the Marchesa. It's just like sliding in, right? And you can see there's this kind of a wicked sear mark across the side of the Marchesa, and Catsup jumps off and shouts, we're getting attacked! A bunch of slugs! There's a shit ton of them! Oh my god! And we have a Skull Takers event, Bones. So
Monster slugs. Okay.
what happens is there is a flurry of activity as the Skull Takers respond to this. And Pibble and Groin jump into action as the leaders of the Skull Takers, trying to coordinate efforts and prepare for this situation. As Catsup is describing the creatures that his patrol found, you come to realize that they are carrion crawlers. Okay? And
Okay.
there's anywhere from 6 to 8 of them, depending on, Catsup's report, right? You're not quite sure, but that sounds about like what is expected. Catsup has basically the cavalry group caught them on patrol and engaged them briefly, and then tried to lead them through a series of traps while trying to disengage and get back to the main hub and report. So, this is an event, right, for these Skull Takers. Okay. You can participate, Bones can participate directly in at least one way. But there are going to be a couple of various stages here that I'm going to need Zach to roll for, okay? So first and foremost, I need you to roll a d20, and this roll, before you roll it, this roll is to see how effective was the early warning patrol system that you have tried to enforce within the Skull Takers. And you actually have a bonus to this. One, because you did try to get them to patrol. If you hadn't, there would be no patrol and they would automatically fail it. So there's that. But then the other thing is your recent endeavors to increase the perception of the Skull Takers has paid off, so the patrolling forces are more perceptive in what they are doing. So I need you to roll a d20, and you need to roll a 9 or better to succeed.
Okay. You said I get a bonus, or does that bonus?
That's the bonus. The bonus is it was a 10 or better, and you get a +1 on the perception.
I rolled a 4.
Okay, so you made good strides, but they were taken a little unawares. Maybe they were lollygagging. Maybe they were having a little breakfast while they were out on patrol or something like that. Who knows? So they were caught at least slightly unawares, which accounts for why the Marchesa may have been wounded initially.
They had their burritos out.
Right. Okay. So the second thing that I need you to roll for, right, is I need you to roll for how successful was the patrol unit in leading this group of carrion crawlers through traps, right? Like, how well did those traps harm the carrion crawlers or slow them down, etc., etc. Now, there are a few base traps set up in the 6th level of the dungeon, but there has not been a lot of effort to reinforce those traps or add new ones. So this is going to be a relatively difficult check. I need you to roll another d20, and it's a 15 or better wins.
I'll roll a 7.
Okay, so that's another failure. All right, so as you're listening to Catsup's report, and Pibble and Groin are coordinating and preparing to, to meet the engagement of these carrion crawlers, you realize as you're listening, you're like, shit. This has not gone well. They were taken by surprise, and then when they tried to lead them through the traps, they didn't do so successfully, maybe because there's not enough traps, or the traps aren't reinforced, or they just don't know their way around the traps well enough. Either way, this has been kind of botched from the beginning, okay? So you, okay. Bones knows in this instance, probably didn't start off too well. But from your assessment, from Bones' assessment, Bones knows that the forces that the Skull Takers have available that are arrayed here can definitely defeat 6 to 8 carrion crawlers, probably without the risk of anyone dying, though there's always the chance that could happen. Bones also knows he could step in against the carrion crawlers, and it would just be a wipe, right? You know your own capabilities. You've fought carrion crawlers before. You could probably take on 6 to 8 carrion crawlers by yourself, much less with the aid of the Skull Takers, right? If you step in, it's not even going to be in question. It will be an automatic success if Bones decides to step in. However, if Bones decides to step in, he's not necessarily going to see, okay, how do the Skull Takers conduct themselves? Can they actually handle a threat like this on their own? Etc. And as you are kind of thinking about that, Zach Bones, right? Okay. And the alarm is being raised, it is at that moment that moss-covered rock near stream comes out of the earth next to you and kind of grinds the inside of its maw at you, right? And says, "Do you want me to handle it with them, or stand down?"
He's Southern. He's a Southern.
He's Southern now. Today.
Good. Okay. Good.
That was mostly me being Southern, not him, but you know.
I will tell him in Terran, because that's the only thing he speaks.
For clarity, before you make a choice, you're basically, you have 3 options here, right? Bones can get involved and auto-succeed. You can let the Skull Takers do it themselves, which is 1 difficulty class, or you can let the Skull Takers handle it with moss-covered rock near stream's assistance, which is another DC.
Yeah, so my instruction to him is going to be watch from the walls and only step in if someone's going to die.
Okay. All right, gotcha. And Bones is not going to get involved. Bones is just going to observe?
I'm going to go... No, I don't want to be invisible. I want to be like a morale standard.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to watch from the back line, and I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to, like, have a dagger, just, like, flipping it. Like, I trust you guys, but if someone's going to die or something's going to die, I'm going to throw it at them.
Gotcha. All right. So,
and if there's multiple fronts, I would split it. I would split Moth on me one and me on another.
Gotcha. So, as this situation unfolds, you prepare yourself. You prepare Mossy. You come to a conclusion of what your plan is going to be, and then you watch. Right, you watch as Pibble and Groin and the Skull Takers array themselves. They send out a small advance party to make contact to lure the carrion crawlers back into the nave where the full might of the Skull Takers can be arrayed against these creatures in a contained space, right? So for this, you have if Bones had gotten involved, it would have been an automatic success, right? And I'm gonna say that we're gonna go with the Skull Taker's check itself, right? Which is a DC 15. But you have orders for Moss Covered Rock near stream to step in if needed, which would be a DC of a 10, right? So roll me a D20, and we have a variable DC on this to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it does look like Mossy probably doesn't need to get involved. The first, second, and third carrion crawler that come through into the nave go down without issue, right? Between the onslaught of cavalry charges and the arrows and the magic that comes out and the two bugbears that just slap the shit, Risk and Balrin also get involved because they're just here and they're not gonna not help, right? So they they weren't told not to, so they get involved and they assist, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So that goes easy peasy, but it's the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th carrion crawler that push through the massing corpses, right? That begin to kind of put some wear and tear down on the goblins. So what you have is you have 2 failures and a partial success. So I need you to roll. What is this?
I don't know. You're the one that knows.
I need you to roll 5 times.
Okay, what am I rolling?
I am figuring that out real quick. It
Okay.
is gonna be. I gotta count. So we got
1. Ooh.
It's it is, my god, math is not my strong suit. I need you to roll a 1d21.
Okay.
Right?
5 times.
5 times, yeah. Re-rolling, well, I guess technically not re-rolling duplicates.
Well, there's
19,
Those are
20,
certainly
8,
numbers.
4, and 5. Okay. Yeah. 19 and 20. 8. Four and 5. Okay. Roll me a 1d5.
D.
A 1d5 3 times. Or 2 times. 2 times 5.
2. A 4 and a 5.
A 4 and a 5.
Hope that's actually good.
Okay, gotcha. All right. I put together too many lists. I love this, but at the same time, I hate it. Okay, so I need from you 3 1d8s.
Okay. Flash roll 1d8. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, and then 2 1d6s.
2, 1d6.
8, a
Slash
6, and a
roll.
3.
1d6. You said 2 of them?
Yeah, 2 1d6s. 2 and a 1. Okay. Alright, talk amongst yourselves while I figure out what the fuck happened.
Zach. We need you. We need.
Those
We
are
need
some
you.
numbers.
We need you in the Discord.
To do what? Sure or around what?
We might be coming to a consensus.
We're trying
On
to
the
figure out
team
team
name.
name. Putting in the work.
Oh shit, they're doing it. They be doing it.
It'll probably come to nothing like usual.
Yeah. But I mean, At least we're still trying.
Oh no.
I like
Oh,
the first
no.
one because it's in reference to our tavern. I like the second one because it's in reference to the mountain. So I'm mostly okay with those two.
I mean, you could even slightly convolutedly tie the second one to the tavern too.
Lifted Spirits Inc.
That's
That's a Mitchell.
it's funny.
I
like
would
it.
only keep it in its acronym
I
form.
got it from
Yeah.
Acquisitions Incorporated, whatever.
Yeah.
It got in my head, and I thought it'd be fun.
It would be
LSI.
LSI
And then
for
we're a
short.
walking ad for the bar.
Sure.
We market
I
ourselves.
don't know about all that.
So Mitch is cool with those three. I think Jake and I are cool with the first two. If you could narrow it down further,
What are the first two?
Or scratch it entirely.
Spirit keepers? What spirits are we keeping?
lift
Yeah.
The
lifted spirits.
He stays on his own accord. That makes it sound like we're slavers. Ghost slavers.
I mean, that's
Ghost
fine.
slavers.
I mean,
Are
you-
that's,
that- I do
are
not see it that
beekeepers
way.
That's a-
slavers.
that's a take. I mean, I don't know that I
Lord
agree
of
with that
mercy.
take, but that's a take.
Do beekeepers enslave the bees they're keeping?
Yes.
No. I actually watch beekeeping videos.
Yes, they do.
No.
They keep them locked up and harvest their.
They're not locked up, they
Harvest-
can leave.
Okay,
Oh,
let me-
okay,
How
okay,
would
okay,
they
okay,
make
okay.
honey
Keep
if they're
them
locked up?
They
Oh my
keep them
God.
locked up and contained through subterfuge,
All right.
subterfuge and deception.
All right, y'all.
I'm
y'all,
convinced that Zach knows nothing about bees.
Look, I'm actually pretty well versed in beekeeping.
Of course you are.
so-
No,
So-
based on your previous statement, I refuse to believe it.
It's
So-
farm adjacent, bro, and I'm part of
I'm gonna
that.
get y'all. Y'all can take that discussion to Discord. Continue it there.
Say anything.
No, then you're not included. It's like
Punish
classroom
everyone,
rules.
Jeremy.
If you
Punish
weren't
everyone.
doing anything wrong, you're not included. Get out of here. Okay, so the battle that unfolds for the Skull Takers is a clear victory for the Skull Takers. But
Clear.
no. Here's the thing. Like what I said at the beginning, Bones' assessment was correct. The Skull Takers are able to defeat this type of enemy, right? But not being properly, not getting the drop on the enemy, right? Basically getting surprised. Not being able to whittle the enemy down or cause them to be slowed or what have you. And then basically requiring assistance in the battle. No one comes close to dying, but as the battle is ended, right? There are a couple of wounds, some minor and some major, across the Skull Takers. Now, obviously, there are people with missing hit points, right? Like a bunch of people took hits here or there, right? But what I'm talking about is things that are more minor or more permanent than just sleeping it off, right? Peppa, Catsup, and Bootlick all end up with, and I'm taking note of all of this, and I'll update it on the actual the Skull Takers spreadsheet for you later. But Peppa, Catsup, and Bootlick all end up with minor injuries. Peppa has some internal injuries, Catsup has a vicious wound, and Bootlick has a concussion.
Vicious.
And those each have different effects that we can go into more detail later on if you want, right? But there are two individuals who have some major wounds from the battle. And that is Braralk, the other bugbear, not Blarg, bugbear, basically. The bugbear that
Yes.
joined you after the fall of the tall market, right?
I know exactly who he is. Yes.
Gotcha. So Baralk loses an arm, in the battle.
Okay, well,
Oh no.
And the other individual to get a major wound is Big Beak.
no, Big Big, no!
Big Beak loses an eye in the battle.
Oh, no.
And those are both.
Doesn't he gain a surname from that?
It's possible, right? It might be, right? These might just be the beginning of their tales, but they both receive major injuries. And so here's the thing: the minor injuries have certain effects, but those injuries tend to be limited and will tend to go away on their own. Major injuries tend to be permanent, except for a few of them, right? Unless you invest in like magical regeneration, which is pretty expensive and hard to come by, right? Like, there's no way Baralk or Big Beak are getting that arm or eye back. And before there is concern from you, Zach the player, right? The failures prior to Bones not stepping in means that there were going to be injuries regardless. It just depends on who and what and severity, etc. So this is and we'll play around with this. If we don't like how this worked out, we'll talk about it. But this is a new system that I'm potentially implementing for the Skull Takers for events that might happen when you guys aren't around, etc., etc. And as you consider these types of things, we can talk about, you know, and you've already kind of done some of this already, right? Like, what can you do? What can Bones do to prepare the Skull Takers, and what comes of it? So one of the things that has come just from this battle, as Bones did not step in and allowed the Skull Takers to do their own thing, even if Moss Covered Rock near stream did step in at the end and assist. After the battle, the Skull Takers, after the wounded are initially treated, they array themselves in front of you, unprompted, right? Without anything being said. The host of the Skull Takers arrays themselves in front of you, almost as if for like an inspection. And Pibble and Groin step forward, and many of them are wounded. None of them are like just dying, right? But many of them are wounded, dripping blood, cut, bruised, etc. And Pibble and Groin step forward, and they look at you, right? And they look at each other, and they look a little abashed, slightly. They got into the thick of the fighting, so they're a little breathing heavy. And Groin looks over, and he says, "You know, boss, I'm not sure we've been taking this seriously enough, but I think we get it now." And Pibble looks at you, and he kind of nods as Groin is saying that, and he says, "Thanks for giving us the chance to do it ourselves, boss. We'll do better next time." And there's just this kind of like solemn nod across the Skull Takers.
Damn, I fight back a tear of proudness. I'm just so proud. Fight it back. I said, okay, then.
And there's that's it, right? Like there's there's this huddle ready break kind of mentality of like, okay, what is said, what needed to be said was said. Everyone gets it, right? And they start carving up carcasses, they start hauling out the carrion crawlers, they start to, you know, bind wounds, mend armors, mend weapons, etc. And of note, by the way, Baralk and Big Beak were standing in the group while that was all happening. Baralk just had like a big bandage like shoved into the stump of his arm, right?
Damn.
Just like grim jawed, like, yep, yep, you know, type situation.
Where the hell is Salt? So, isn't she our shaman?
Salt is immediately getting to it with the actual like healing as best as they can, but it's only got
I
so
go
much.
and I go and I go up to Barak. 'Cause I'm proud of him. I'm like, good attempt. And I, I ask, pull your little tourniquet off.
And he looks at you. And he takes it off, and it doesn't it doesn't just it's mostly like it's a big clump of like blood, but there is free flowing blood that's like starts to seep out immediately as he removes it.
Yeah. Okay. I take out one of my potions of healing and I splash it on it.
Okay, so yeah, you see the flesh that the potion touches immediately begins to kind of like go from this visceral red color to kind of like this pink, and it begins to seal up and kind of like spread outward, and after a matter of moments, right, the majority of it is sealed over, but it's this kind of like still nasty looking lumpy specimen.
Yeah, but he's not like bleeding out anymore.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
my intention.
Yep.
All right then.
And he just kind of like was slow. My fault.
No, they can be quick.
Faster
I know.
next time.
Can't wait to see it. I'll walk off.
Yep. Done and done. Alright. Cool. Back on the surface of Waterdeep. Sorry. Like, I was really excited with that. And now
Cool.
we gotta go to Waterdeep. Ugh.
Yeah,
more
fuck
Goblin
Waterdeep. Level 6 all day.
Oh fuck. Okay, so that is what is unfolding this morning while the party is up top making their way through the city towards the yawning portal. That's what's happening down on the 6th level. Ashes.
Yes,
While
sir.
you are all in the carriage on your way there, you hear Zalara speaks to you, and she says, so about that blessing, I don't know, this is a little strange to be talking about it here. We should, when we get down there, we should
Test it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know, I feel like something has changed. I feel closer to you, not like closer to you, but like I feel
get
almost like more like a part of you now.
I mean, yeah, I'm. What's down? I'm down to
Down to clown, baby.
down to clown.
All right.
Woo woo.
Let's not go swinging me about up here, but like when we get down there, let's yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Your carriage, through the streets, down the high road, over to the yawning portal, and you arrive, right? You push in. There's a little snowbank built up outside, right? But there's this trail straight through the doors into the yawning portal, which is there's a medium-sized crowd this morning, not packed, not raucous or anything like that, but there's enough people in here that there's chatter, there's as you come in and people recognize you and all that jazz. And you all, you pay your gold and you set about preparing to go down into the dungeon. Before that happens, though, you hear this slurred voice all across the bar. An angry voice. It calls out and it says,
I didn't do it.
"It was you!
I think I probably
You
did.
were there!" Yeah, that's right! And you hear some chairs moving, and your attention is drawn over to an individual that is clearly drunk this early in the morning, pushing his way through various seating arrangements, not in like a super aggressive manner, but in a I'm drunk and kind of stumbling about manner, but clearly trying to get his way over to you. And it's an individual that a couple of you have seen a handful of times, perhaps. But he approaches you, right? And he just reeks of alcohol. And as soon as he kind of like makes the move, you can see Durnan is standing there, his kind of arms crossed, not too far away from you behind the bar, but he's not doing anything to stop this. He's just ready. He's just prepared, right? And you can see a couple of the other, like the serving staff around and about, and even other individuals in the tavern are just kind of hushed, all waiting, all kind of watching, right? This is not the tavern that you make trouble in, right? It's a tavern full of adventurers or ex-adventurers. So there's immediately this air of like, come on now, right? And again, this person as he comes up to you, he says, "Yeah, that's right. It's gotta be you. There's no way someone else was down there on the same damn day." This individual is, again, a couple of you have met them before. It's Halaster Silvermane. He is a agent of the Lord's Alliance.
Is this the guy that was in Xanathar's that
This
we
is the
booked it out
guy
of?
that was
Yeah.
in Xanathar's lair that you guys just left behind. And he says in that moment, right, like as there's
the
this,
one we tried
as
over and
there's
over
this,
again to get to leave.
as there is this dawning realization on your faces, right? He sees that and he says, "Yeah, that's right. You know, he died 'cause you left him there." And he turns, right, and he's kind of like addressing the whole tavern, and he says, "Eustace Staggett was a good man, a good captain of your watch. You know how many of you he saved, helped throughout your lives? And these, your vaunted..." And he's drunk. He's slurring his words the entire time he says this, so he's way less clear than I am right now. He says, These, your vaunted heroes, your new wardens of the high road." And he spits on the floor as he says it, right? "They couldn't be bothered. They ran and left him behind."
Who the fuck did we leave behind?
You don't fucking know. That's the thing.
I'm still unclear on who actually died. Was it the guy they were there to save?
Why do I have these blank spots like that? I missed the Zam kid. Like, I completely forgot about Zam.
Well, okay. Well, I was the one dealing with them. I just don't remember who they said.
I don't
They
know that he
fucking-
ever. I don't know that he ever gave you a name during the event. They were down there to rescue someone.
Yeah, I was like, Xanathar's dead. Shit's happening. We gotta leave. And then they just went invisible. So it's like, okay.
So,
I tried. This is not on me.
it is in this moment, right? Like you guys recognize Halaster, right? And you recognize that, oh shit, he was there when we were in the Xanathar's lair. And then he goes off on this tirade, and as that happens, right, like there's this obvious, like, you all are taken aback enough to where there's not an immediate response, and he kind of just, after he ends that, right, he just stands there and he kind of starts crying, and Bonnie comes up and she just like puts an arm over his shoulder, takes the tankard out of his hand, sets it on a table, and just walks him away. And there's just this quiet air in the tavern. No one says anything.
I am ill prepared for this situation.
I'm assuming Durnan is behind the bar.
Yeah, he's standing behind the bar.
I slowly walk up to him. I put a platinum on the bar and say for his drinks.
He nods at you. All right. And then he gestures to let you know that the lift is ready for you to go down.
Yeah, I don't feel bad about that one. I think I told them like 3 times. I think.
I ride the lift down,
Okay.
not with my head low, but nor high.
Not with my head. Oh.
I mean, like I'll see everybody go into the portal. I'll look back at the dude who's like, and like, you know, what, quietly crying to himself.
Well, he's been kind of like moved over to the far corner of the tavern by Bonnie now. Like she like took him by the arm and like led him away, and he's just sobbing over there at a corner table now.
Great.
I'm not gonna. I wanted to like go over there and say something. The second I do, he's a drunk man. He's just gonna fucking get rowdy and upset, and I'm not gonna.
He might not. Go say something to him.
All right, this is on Zach's head.
What the fuck?
And I'll walk up to him and
So you walk over there, and it's quiet. All eyes are kind of on you. You 3 are the only real action. Matashtai and Ezrah are heading down, or waiting for you before they head down. Either way, but you walk over, and he hasn't noticed your approach yet, but Bonnie has. She's sitting there with him, arm over his shoulder, kind of like trying to console him, trying to calm him down. All right, and she gives you these like eyes of like careful as you kind of like come up, but then she kind of leans back a little bit, and he like suddenly realizes you're there, and he looks up at you with these blurry eyes, partially from drunkenness, partially from tears.
and I'll just look at him, and I'm gonna make sure this is like not is quiet. I'm not trying to bring any attention to this. I'm sorry. When we're down there, we do try to save who we can. We've made poor decisions. I've made poor decisions. I've lost somebody in the mount before. The fight with Xanathar wasn't easy. And I would have loved to have been able to pay better attention, be a better person. I'm sure he was an honorable man. And I'm sorry for your loss.
He looks up at
The way
you.
it-
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I said, and I promise you that I will try to be better. We will try to be better.
He looks up at you, right? He's had these blurry eyes the entire time, and he kind of like blinks, trying to clear them. And he kind of sways, and you see his face just kind of like blanch, before he kind of like steadies, and he says, "You lots defeated the tyrant. You beat Xanathar. But then you fled from his minions. He was a good man. He didn't deserve to get left behind. Us being there was a foolhardy attempt to save him. We probably all would have died if you hadn't been there, if you hadn't killed the Xanathar. But you were, and you did. And then you just left."
After we nearly died a few times.
And then he just kind of puts his head down and he just cries into his hand.
And I'm not going to press my luck. I'm going to go ahead and walk away.
Yep.
Yay! Undermountain.
Yay, consequences.
I clap Ashes on the shoulder as he gets back and say, "Well done."
It doesn't feel like it.
It's not supposed to.
Yeah.
The lift takes you down to the first floor of Undermountain, where, upon setting foot, Zalara immediately says into your mind, Ashes, "Alright, that was incredibly fucking depressing, and I feel very shit about that. So let's do something else."
Give me something to kill.
Just let's see what's up, maybe? Get our minds on something else?
Hey girl, what's up? I'm not there. Y'all are there. You guys
Jay's
have to
giving me
drive it
weird
forward.
faces.
Jesus, you gonna fuck the sword or what?
So, all right. I'm sorry. I was kind of listening to.
Gotcha. So Zalara tells you, "Yo, let's test some stuff out so that we can think
Okay,
about
yeah.
something else other than that depressing shit."
Okay, so yeah, I'll grab Zalara, and I'll take a look at the side of the blade and see, is there another rune on the side lit
There
up?
is another rune on the side lit
Hey, that's
up!
real cool.
Oh my
Right.
god!
Yeah, bro. How'd you know? How'd you know, bro?
I was just making sure. Like, I didn't know if this is one of the 5. Right?
One of the 7. Zalara has 7. Biltson only has 5.
Right.
Zalara has
Whoa,
7.
Bixton.
All right. So
And this is numero
3. Just 3.
4. This is
4.
Yeah, because 1 was automatically lit up.
Automatic
1 is the
system.
very first one. So 1 is just like the base. So there was 2, 3 that unlocked for
Was-
you, and
which
this is the
was
3rd one that has unlocked for you,
Compelled
which is
Duel
the
in
4th
Darkness.
total.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll give the pommel a good squeeze, and I'll reach out, and the same way I've been casting things from Zalara, I will try the one that I haven't done yet.
Hook and kiss! I can just imagine Matashtai and Ezra just sitting here like watching this like kiss!
Moon magic!
Oh fuck.
Ezra takes a step away from Ashes.
Nothing happens. You feel no innate ability or magic well up inside of you. You do notice, right, that Zalara's edge seems to be all the more keen comparatively.
Oh, yeah?
Zalara is now a +2 longsword.
Oh.
Okay. And as you are familiarizing yourself with the blade, with Zalara, you're handling, making some cuts, like going through a few motions, playing things out, you feel a slight hum, but not from your medallion, from the blade, and you realize, or you have this kind of like intuitive moment, and you take a finger and run it across the edge of the blade, and it is almost as if the blade leaps out at you. Because not only is it a +2 longsword now, it is a +3 versus lycanthropes.
Oh.
So fancy.
I was
Fancy.
thinking it was Vorpal.
Oh,
That's gonna be great when we have to kill Dog Dad.
well, it might be good when we have to kill Dog Dad. But we're not done yet.
It's a +4 versus Dog Dad specifically? Wow.
Exactly. No, it is the realization is that as you are, you know, kind of going through these motions and you're making these cuts and kind of like mock fighting, you know, you look over at Matashtai and you're like, okay, yeah, dance with me, right? Yeah, okay. You start to like move in a fluid, instinctual motion, and the way in which you do so, you realize, is the way that you normally fight unarmed.
Yeah.
And it takes you a brief moment to realize that whatever your newfound connection with Zalara, whatever the situation is, there is a weight and speed and natural feel to the sword in your hand now, as if it was just an extension of your hand. For all intents and purposes, Zalara now counts as an unarmed strike for you. With whatever
Okay.
bonuses and abilities that comes with. And I think you're gonna have a couple of moments where you're like, oh wait, does that mean? And the answer that I'm gonna give you generally is yes, that means.
When
So-
he writes, does he still have...
If he writes an unarmed, if he writes his claws, right, his claws are his unarmed strikes, Zalara counts as an unarmed strike. So he can write Zalara.
She counts as a claw?
She counts as a claw.
Okay.
Basically, she is now a claw.
Okay.
Okay.
You just
all
have the
right.
middle finger in one
You
hand
just-
and...
Oh fuck. Okay.
Okay.
So there's a moment, right, where, and I think Jay's gonna need some time to digest and figure out exactly what that means for all the different things. But there's a moment where Ashes says like, oh, hold up a second, let me, and he pulls out Zalara and he's like, okay, let's test, and he goes through a few minutes of like testing things out before you kind of like see this realization. Matashtai and Ezra, you see this realization where Ashes is like, oh, okay, all right, and then he, you know, sheaths Zalara and is like, with renewed vigor, all right, let's do this, let's go. And the three of you can begin the trek through the first level of the dungeon onwards towards your ultimate goal.
Okay. Wow. Yep. There are things.
There are things. The thing about continuing your trek towards your ultimate goal is you don't get very far. You make it down the hallway that is engraved with the fiendish engravings and to the Hall of Pillars before a sudden chill takes all of you, and you feel the hairs on the back of your arms ripple and stand up on edge. And you hear a familiar voice coming out from behind one of the pillars. Ah, Ashes. You have the stink of the moonlight upon you. And you see, stepping out from behind one of the pillars, Arthur Morlin.
No vampires like the moonlight? What the fuck?
In a
depending.
In this kind of like greenish, like a light, almost kind of like a pea green kimono with his braided hair thrown over one side. He looks very relaxed, very just casual. And he comes around the corner and he leans on it ever so slightly and he says, Ashes, I liked you better when you were less dedicated.
Well, that's tough shit, because I'm not doing what I'm doing for you.
He laughs at your response and he says, I have missed you, though. You haven't visited.
Yeah, that's kind of on purpose.
Always so rude with you.
Right,
But
it's almost like we're from different areas. Like, my kind.
Oh,
And
your
I mean-
kind, huh?
Yeah,
wow.
doesn't really
Oh,
consort
man.
with your kind.
Damn, it's almost like he's from the wrong religion.
How harsh to put it in terms of kind. Ashes, are you not your own person and I my own?
Right. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. For now, until I found out about how the innocents of Waterdeep are being slowly converted to vampires, and then we're gonna see just how different we really are.
And if you hear about it, it will not be from my endeavors. But that does bring me to the reason I wanted to speak with you. Actually.
You've been actively looking for me.
I
Massively.
have just recently come to realize that you are growing in strength, especially with your newfound connection. Tell me, did you enjoy your trip?
Yeah, I did.
Good. I honestly am glad. I presume that your goddess has desires that align with my own.
Well, let's find out. What are your desires?
He looks at you and he says, there is an ancient evil beneath the mountain.
Familiar.
There are those that seek to control this power.
Mm-hmm.
one of these ancient, or one of these powers is a bit of a rival of mine. A foe that has been a thorn in my side for quite some time. A devotee of the Dark Mistress.
Convenient.
Oh my gosh, are you gonna help him or are you just gonna not do your job?
I'm also pretty sure that she's your sword's sister. And in your mind, you hear Zalara say, "Fuck." And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Ugh. I hate that, man. There's just like, if there was any time I wanted to like murder hobo somebody, it's this guy. Like,
The perfectly polite, never done anything wrong to you vampire
Not even never done anything wrong. Actively helped us.
actively has assisted. I love
also,
it.
I thought when he was talking about a lady of the night or whatever, he was talking about Shar. Or like
He was.
No, he's talking about
Okay.
a hooker.
No, he's talking
talking
the
about Shar.
Dark
No,
Mistress
I'm like,
is
really convenient.
the Dark Mistress is one of Shar's titles.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, that is going to be the end of our session tonight. Thanks for hanging out. We will hopefully see you next time, next week, for more Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Bye-bye,
Seems
everybody.
unlikely.
Bye. Glad to be back in it. Woo.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.